I'm Austin, and this is Couch Warriors.
Victory Street!
Hello, this is the best Donald Trump, and today I'm taking a break from the presidency and Twitter to come to you to give an honest movie review on Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Our story begins about 15 years storyline set in the future of Episode 1. Hayden Christensen plays Anakin Skywalker. He looks like a teenage girl with no facial hair, and he cries like one on Twitter too. I like to cry on Twitter, so me and him have a connection. Okay, anywho, the story begins when Anakin and Obi-Wan are going up this lift, and they're gonna go meet Padme and all the other senators. And when on their way up there, Jar Jar Binks just so happens to be by the door, and they open the door, and he's like,
"Oh, Miss, I say you said a long time. Miss, yo, give me a good hug. Miss Senator now."
and I was like, I can't believe that they would make this moron a politician. What kind of person is he? He's not even qualified. He reminds me a lot of me. Anywho, the story keeps going on. And what happens is they find out that the Trade Federation has now expanded into the Confederacy of Independent Systems, or the CIS. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna rule the galaxy and tax everybody to death like a bunch of Republicans. Well, what happens is they send Obi-Wan to Kamino because apparently the old Count Dooku, who is the evil Jedi in this, because you always gotta have an evil Jedi, he's made a clone army 10 years previous without anybody knowing, and then he left the Order and became evil. Well, what happened is he went to Kamino. He asked for this clone army, and when they gave the clone army, they called the Jedi and they're like, "We got your clone army." So Obi-Wan goes and he sees the clone army, and he's like, "First impression." And he's like, "We'll take the clone army." But for whatever reason, he decides to attack Jango Fett, which is Boba Fett's daddy, because for whatever reason, he doesn't like Jango Fett. I don't know why. Anywho, he takes the clone army, he accepts the offer so they have a way to fight the CIS. And then they go to Geonosis, he goes to Geonosis, and he's captured by Count Dooku because he's trying to find out how they can shut down the CIS army and end the war quickly. But it's not, it wasn't ended quickly. It's a huge war, a huge, beautiful war. Hell yeah, it covers every system. So he's on Geonosis, he's captured, and Anakin finds out. So Anakin and Padme, they're on Tatooine, right? And Anakin's looking for his mama, but he finds out his mama is almost dead because she's been captured by the Tusken Raiders. They should have built the wall around Anchorhead and Tatooine to keep all the Tusken Raiders out, but they didn't, and so she got captured. And well, that old slave guy on Tumbala Magana that I talked about in the last video, he sold her for a nickel because he's a cheap son of a gun. So she married off this slave guy, and then she got captured by the daggum Tusken Raiders. And the Tusken Raiders were like, and they captured him, and they captured her, and they had tortured her to death, and she just so happened to stay alive until Anakin showed up. And then Anakin's like, "Oh no, Ma, you're almost dead." And she's like, "It's okay, Anakin, at least I get to see you one more time." And then she died, and it was tragic, it was bad. Anywho, Anakin goes on a rampage, and he kills all the Tusken Raiders. He wipes out the whole village, nothing left. They were running amok. That's probably a good thing. Anyway, nobody missed him. And he comes back with their body, and they have the funeral, and then he finds out about Obi-Wan. So he goes to Geonosis to save Obi-Wan, and he gets immediately captured because it's him versus like 200,000 people. So they put him up on these rocks like it's a crucifixion in the middle of an arena, and they're gonna kill him with these beasts, and the beasts come after him. And in true Star Wars fashion, they break free, and now they're riding the beast. So the droids, they all surround them, and they're like, we're gonna shoot you to death. But little do they know, there's actually 200 Jedi hidden in the crowd. And the Jedi jump down, and they fight all the droids. But there's too many droids, and they're getting their butt handed to them. And then there's a few Jedi left, and the droids surround them. And they're like, Count Dooku's like, Mace Windu, my old friend, if you surrender now, we will spare your life. And Mace Windu's like, no, I ain't gonna do nothing, cause I'm Nick Fury, and I was on Pulp Fiction, and I have a purple lightsaber. Well, old Count Dooku, he gives the order, and they're gonna shoot them dead. And then the clones show up with Yoda, and Yoda's like,
create a perimeter around the survivors. We should save our the Jedi. We will.
So they land on the gunships, and we get to see the clones for the first time, and they wipe the floor with the droids, and then they all get on the gunships, and they're all at the cruisers and the AT-ATs, and they're gonna fight the droids on Geonosis, and they're wiping the floor with them, and they're trying to get away, but they have these big laser gun AT-ATs, and they shoot them down, and a lot of them die. And then the end of the movie comes, and Mace Windu's like, man, Master Yoda, I'm glad we ended the Clone War before it started. And he said, and then Obi-Wan's like, yes, the battle was won, Master. And Yoda's like,
the war has not been won. Battle has been won, but war has just begun. I am Yoda.
So it's the end of the movie, and it goes to the credits, and everybody's like, wait a minute, this movie wasn't that good. It had a lot of romance in it. The romance wasn't that good. It was mostly just Anakin crying. And then the best part of the whole movie is that when Obi-Wan and Anakin confront Dooku, because Dooku's trying to escape, and they're gonna kill him, but Dooku's better than they are, and he wipes the floor with both of them. He cuts Anakin's hand off. So they're both sitting there about to get struck down, and then Yoda shows up, and Dooku throws lightning at Yoda, and then Yoda catches the lightning, and he grabs it, and he dissipates it in his hand, and he's like,
much to learn you still have, my young apprentice.
And then Dooku's like, the skill that we have won't be determined by our knowledge with the Force, but with our skill with the lightsaber. So they start fighting, and Yoda, who's normally crippled, suddenly becomes able to move extremely fast, and he's beating the crud out of Dooku, and Dooku's like, I've had enough of this, and so he escapes on his ship, and then that was the best part of the whole movie, and he goes and sees Darth Sidious, which is originally Chancellor Palpatine, and Sidious is just like,
Good, my apprentice. Everything has gone as I have foreseen it. I'm afraid that the Death Star will be built when their friends arrive.
And that was the end of the movie. I've been Donald Trump. Vote for me in 2020. Don't vote for that nasty woman Hillary Clinton because she's evil and I'm obviously not. Alright, this has been another episode of The Couch Warrior. Subscribe, like, share on Twitter, especially Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, the WWE forum, YouTube, all your friends in real life. Alright, Donald Trump signing out. It's been great.